Welcome to The Point of View. This is your favorite current affairs show here on Channel 1 Television. On The Point of View, we pick the right topics, get the right guests, ask them the relevant questions on issues that matter to you. We're live tonight with a big show. The opposition New Patriotic Party has, in an unprecedented move, announced that it will hold its presidential primaries first before holding other party elections. So the date is set 31st January 2026. Some call it a controversial move. Tonight, the General Secretary of the party is with us to explain the rationale for the decision and also talk to us about how he plans to revamp the elephant fraternity. We're live. Send us your comments. I'm sure he'll answer some of your questions as we go through the next 55 minutes. Stay with us.
Smile. Are you dreaming of a beautiful and brighter smile? A professional teeth whitening service can make that dream a reality. Hi, I'm Tanya from Bethel Dental Clinic, Ghana. Zoom Professional Whitening Treatment is safe and effective and can brighten your smile up to 7 shades. Here are the steps for professional whitening. First, the gums are protected by applying a barrier. Then, the whitening gel is applied to the teeth. After that, a light is applied for about 15 to 20 minutes to enhance the whitening process. This application is applied 2 to 4 times to get you a brighter smile in just one appointment. Yes, in just one appointment, you get a brighter smile. Please be aware that a checkup and a professional cleaning prior to dental office whitening are a must.
Remember who we are seeing now. At risk of prostate enlargement. Uyi emema oha 20 ebitimi nya prostate cancer, 5 bitimi afamu na dia obefamu.
Actually, this is not my fault.
And to wada entina medi mani Executive Prostate Center.
Executive Prostate Center is a unique medical center where we harmonize in-depth traditional medicine with cutting-edge science and technology to cure, to treat, and to prevent diseases like prostate enlargement, prostate cancer.
Executive Prostate Center. Madame home. Facilities no any professional medical care.
Sisi a bibia clear system. Yen running so de natural into a cost of farmer.
Executive Prostate Center. My cured.
Welcome back. So tonight we'll be speaking to Justin Kodua Frimpong, who is the General Secretary of the NPP. He's here with us. Yesterday was a big day for the party. The National Council held a very important meeting at their usual meeting place to deliberate on proposals made by a committee that had been set up, chaired by a very important person. Of course, Dr. Baumia was at the meeting. I'm sure you recognize him from that. There were also a few other important people there. Freddie Wosma Oble, Ali Suraj, an NPP member, Volta Regional Chairman Makafi Wanya, I believe he is, also at the program. We're not sure whether this is before or after, but the Secretary tells us. This is Kweku Kwating, former Deputy Finance Minister, a member of the Economic Committee. Gideon Boakun, where you see Baumia, you see Gideon Boakun. He's the MP for Tanon North and the spokesperson for the Vice President. Dr. Educhum, he declared today, I think we saw his video today, 3 minutes and a few seconds. He also has thrown his hat into the ring. So NPP has a very interesting situation. A lot of us know that Dr. Baumia obviously stand. Kennedy Japan is also there. Educhu Mastorin has into a ring. Brian Champong is also quite keen. We are told a few more names will come up. Who else was at the meeting? Of course, we know Ahiagba, and then Haruna Mohammed, who is the Deputy General Secretary. So it was a big meeting. Chairman Won to me, looking much better than a couple of weeks ago. Couple of members of parliament also there. This is I think the youth organizer, if I'm not mistaken. So all of these people were at the meeting. So it was a very, very big meeting. Of course, Apenyo marking Lord Oblite Kome, Brian Champong. So these are a few people. So let me sit down and talk to Justin Kodua. Welcome to the show. Good evening.
Good evening, Bernard.
Your friends call you JFK, but I was checking that it's actually JKF. So is it Justin Frimpong Kodua or Kodua Frimpong?
It's Justin Kodua Frimpong. The
Okay.
JFK is just something like a trademark. Or,
John F. Kennedy. I see. So that's the JFK.
Yeah, that's the JFK.
You are probably the hottest general secretary in the world because your chairman, we are told, is not even necessarily working because of the letter we saw. So are you doing his job or somebody else is doing his job?
Good evening to you. And good evening to your viewers also. The party has a national chairman.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman is in team.
Okay.
And I have not taken his job.
Okay.
The chairman is the chairman. General secretary is the general secretary.
Wow. You are one of the youngest people to be made general secretary of a large party, correct? When you took over the job, you were in your
39.
39. Wow. That was massive. Yeah. How has it been so far?
Well, with the demands and the pressure that comes with it, we have been managing it very well. And in fact, I'm very calm and very focused also. And if, as a lawyer by profession, that I'm not overwhelmed with the challenges and issues that may come up. And with the Constitution as my Bible, as my guidance, so far as I follow the dictates of the Constitution, the work just flows.
NPP is seen as a party of Bukulon people. As some people say, Obi Afeso chair na drink. So if you are the general secretary of NPP, you have to deal with a lot of... I mean, there are some parties that people express their views, but it doesn't get on air that much. But NPP, we typically tend to hear your leaders speak a lot, even from the early 90s. So it means that whatever you decide, you have people who will say they agree, disagree. How is that dynamic? Explain that to me.
Well, as you indicated, the political party of our stature, and based on even on our history, our tradition, and our ideology, certainly when you are taking a decision, there will be people with various diverse ideas, diverse even orientation, and diverse presentation of facts. And all these things encompasses what we stand for as a political party. And that makes the party unique. And the party has never been centered around one person. NPP was not formed by one particular person, unlike other political parties. It's a party based on people from various diverse backgrounds, educational orientation, or philosophy, and all those things coming together to form one political party. So it's expected that a party with that magnitude background, certainly, definitely when you're taking a decision, it's not that easy, but at least people also are able to present a well-researched and well-thought-out through argument. And always, at the end of the day, once each one espouses his or her ideas, is the majority that carries the decision. And always, that's what has been the tenets of our political party. So we have lived with it. And in fact, as a center-right political party, we do welcome all these views and opinions when it comes to taking decisions for the party.
This decision that was announced yesterday, I'm correct if I said this is the first time the NPP is planning to choose its flag bearer before electing national officers within a political cycle, correct?
Well, if it happens...
If it has happened, yes.
It will become a novelty. It becomes a novelty. But we need to also situate it in the parameters as to how it came about, right? And if you recall, the party set up a committee chaired by Professor Iroma Kukwe to do a postmortem of what transpired before, during, and after the 2024 elections. And they went around the 16 regions and the 276 constituency, had an engagement with the rank and file of our party and came out with a report. Key in the report had to do with the need for the party to look at our constitution and as a living document and see where we are as a political party from the backdrop of how the elections went in 2024 and going into future, the key amendment that we need to do in order to put the party in the proper perspective for us to face the challenges ahead. So after they have submitted their recommendation to the party went further to form a constitutional amendment committee, which is chaired by lawyer Frank Davis, and to take into consideration the recommendations from Professor Michael Iwakwe's committee. And the party also in 2021 met in Kumasi in the National Delegate Conference to undertake some amendments, but were unable to do it. And also to look at some proposals that have come from some individuals and some quarters to bring all of them together and make it a one document for them to submit it through National Council to the National Delegate Conference, which is the higher decision-making body of the party, to decide which of the proposals will be accepted and those that will be rejected. So yesterday, the committee met National Council and they took us through the proposals that they have received, and as many as 300 proposals were sent to the committee. Then they summarized the various aspects. Some had to do with our electoral college, some has to do with certain categories of key stakeholders who hitherto are not part of the electoral college that they feel must be added to the electoral college. They also looked at the roles and functions of party executives and how to streamline it so that it becomes very clear that we know these are the roles and functions of each officer of the party. In concluding their presentation, they made the point that there are two things that stands out of all the proposals that has come to them. One has to do with whether the party will pursue the one man, one vote system.
For all party members?
For all party members to have the right to also exercise their franchise, or the limited expansion. With respect to the one man, one vote, what the committee said was that for them, it is a very good suggestion, and overwhelmingly, and many people who came to them were in support of the one man, one vote. But however, looking at the prevailing circumstances, where we are as a party, we don't really have the database of all our members, those who are interested in becoming members, those who are members and all these things. So to pursue that agenda, the membership that the party is embarking, that we are starting very soon, we need to roll that one out to ascertain or get to know the actual members who are within the party. Then two, also, the constitution also talks about members of good standard. So which means that the party members should be paying their dues and we should be able to assess the number of months or years that they have paid their dues. And also, they also spoke about the financial implications. If you are going on one man, one vote, it means that it becomes more of a polling station elections.
More like a national election.
Not more like
very
a national,
big.
very big election. So that means the electoral commission have to set polling centers in the 40,000 over 40,000 polling stations, the logistical challenges, the financial implications, all these things comes to play. But however, the committee recommended that we should be planning towards by the end of 2028, all these factors, having a proper database of our members, many having their own party ID cards, and members also paying their dues. Then the party will be in a proper perspective to implement the one man, one vote. But it doesn't mean there shouldn't be an expansion. If it's going to be an expansion, then there has been several proposals. Some of the view that we should expand the polling station to 7. Some are also saying we should expand it to 10. Some are also saying 15.
So, talking about polling station executives?
Polling station executives. And
so for now, how many polling station executives?
We have 5 per every polling station. And they also went further to do analysis of the cost implication of if you have the current 5 polling station executives and you want to run constituency elections, you want to run presidential elections, you want to run parliamentary elections, the cost implication. right? So these are all the various scenarios that they gave to the National Council yesterday. Then, with respect to former executives, they were also of the view that at least those who have served as constituency executives before, they should be given the opportunity to vote in the parliamentary and presidential primaries. At least a way of recognizing the roles that they play when they were executives, and also to address apathy which sets in. That a person becomes a former executive, then it's like has no connection or no engagement with the party. It's a way of bringing back and also recognizing the roles that they play. So they also discussed that former members of parliament, it's very sad that maybe a person becomes a member of parliament for a particular constituency, and when he leaves office, he's not recognized. The party is taking a decision, it does not become part of those who takes that decision. So those are the discussions that came on. Then it came to presidential primaries. The committee made the point that, again, from the various people that they engaged, overwhelmingly were of the view that it is important or imperative that the party holds its presidential primaries early. And the reason being that now if you monitor even the media space, social media platforms, WhatsApp platforms, even radio discussions and engagement, the rancor and acrimony that's associated with the impending presidential primaries, it is creating division among the party. And the best solution is for us to hold the presidential primaries as early as possible, so that after the elections, the party can unite and work together to win the elections in 2028. So that is something that has been widely accepted, that we need to hold our presidential primaries very early. Because when it comes to regional, constituency, national elections, or even polling station elections, it's not as tense and acrimonious like when it gets to the presidential primary. So that is one of the recommendations that they made. Then, as to the time, the date, and even the venue, the committee considered that per the powers granted by our constitution, and if you refer to Article 13(1)(1) of the NPP's constitution, it states categorically that the power to determine the venue and the date for presidential primaries lies within the bosom of the National Council. So to place more emphasis on it, I will have to read what that provision says. So 13(1)(1) reads that the election of the party's presidential candidate shall be held not later than 24 months from the date of the national election. The date and venue for the elections shall be decided by the National Council, provided, however, that the National Council may, on appropriate occasion, vary the date. So this provision is making reference to when the party is in opposition, that latest or not later than 24 months to the general elections, the party should have held its presidential primaries to elect its flag bearer. So not later means even from now, even today, the party can still elect its presidential candidate. This power clothed with the National Council does not take cognizance of whether there is a polling station elections, whether there is electoral area elections, whether there is constituency elections, whether there is regional. It's a power granted to National Council. So at any point in time, when National Council made that pronouncement that we are going to hold presidential primaries in that day or on this date, then it means the electoral college, as at that time, would determine who becomes our presidential primaries presidential candidate. And when this decision was taken by National Council, there have been some mixed feelings, and some people are excited about it. Others are also apprehensive, and others have raised issues that it's not the best practice. And looking at the convention that has happened in the past, this is the first time that the party will be charting that path. But it's not the decision of the General Secretary. I did not solely...
So you've read 13(1) that clearly says that it is the decision of the National Council.
Yes.
Some people have said that while that is true, 13.1 must be read in conjunction with 10.2.1, which says that there shall be a National Annual Delegates Conference,
Yes.
which shall be the supreme governing body of the party.
Yes.
So their view is that for such a big decision,
Yes.
so even though they are not quarreling National Council for having that power, that decision on the date ought to be ratified by the Annual Delegates Conference, particularly because this is the first time that the date they are choosing will be before other elections are held. But when the announcement was made yesterday, it was almost described like a fait accompli, that 31st January 2026 is set. The conference will ratify other decisions, but this 31st January is not changing. That's the problem some people have raised.
Well, there are layers of authorities, right? From polling station, electoral area, constituency, region. We have the Constituency Delegate Conference, which is a high decision-making body at the constituency. We have the Regional Delegate Conference, which is a high decision-making body in the region. And we have the National Delegate Conference, which is also the high decision-making body of the party. So certainly, all these discussions that we are making here, if at National Delegate Conference, where we are going to do amendment to our constitution, there's the need to also bring these issues up. Why not? At least we are governed by the constitution of our party.
So you are not saying that
Yes.
the National Delegates Conference will not have a say, but you're saying that National Council has chosen 31st January.
Yes.
So will somebody have to raise it at National Council, at the National Delegates Conference, or you know that it will be tabled? Because as I sit here, I know that definitely the constitutional amendments will be tabled and the conference will vote on it.
Yes.
But we do not know whether this 31st January date will be thrown to the National Delegates Conference to say, do you agree or not?
So what would be the issue in contention? Is it the date that the National Council has set, which is the issue, or whether the elections will start from the presidential, then through to national, to region, or that is the issue. Because in any case, once we attend the National Delegate Conference, the essence of the National Delegate Conference has to do with amendment of our constitution.
Okay.
You understand? So once you are going to amend your constitution, even the electoral college will change if there is going to be an expansion. You understand? Yeah. So once you do the expansion will determine the delegates who are going to vote. And if in the wisdom of National Delegate Conference, per consensus or per petitions or per discussion that may go on, that okay, this becomes our electoral college by expansion. If we are going by expansion, which expansion are we talking about? Is it from the polling station? Is it from the electoral area? Is it from the constituency? Is it at the national level? The former ministers, former constituency executive, all becoming part of the electoral college. And mind you, also guided by the tenure of office of party executives.
Yeah.
As at January 31st, will the current executive continue to be executives of the party? If they are not executives of the party, there are several ways. It's either the National Delegate Conference extend their tenure of office, which has been done before, or can decide that no, let's hold elections for these positions before we get to 31st January. So all these things are something on the table which the party has to decide on July 19th.
We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll pose a few more questions because there are other people who've raised, in fact, pointed to precedent as early as 1996, where National Council had to consult the Delegates Conference to decide on a date for election. There are also other issues. On whether the NPP is not putting the cart before the horse. Do you not deal with other matters before you even think about choosing a flag bearer? All of these and more when we come back. Stay with us.
Imagine waking up to serenity every day, surrounded by nature's beauty and luxury at your fingertips in a gated estate you can be proud to call your home. Welcome to Western Villas, located at Mensa, where our stunning homes redefine elegance. At Western Villas, each home is a masterpiece, designed with precision and love. From swimming pool, gym, playground, beautiful landscaped gardens and private balconies, making every day feel like a retreat. We also have executive plots for sale at McCarthy Hill, strategically located and offer unparalleled views, easy access to amenities, and endless possibilities for executive living. With just 5% deposit, you can reserve your space. Contact us today to learn more about our luxury homes at Mensa or executive plots at McCarthy Hill. Call us now on 0536 502295 or visit www.westernvillas.com for more information.
After a long flight, Safari Homes gives you the peace to unwind. A short drive from the airport, convenient for all. For nature lovers, Safari Valley Resort is a hidden gem, surrounded by lush greenery and luxury amenities. A place where you can truly escape. Now, for water adventure, Aqua Safari Resort has it all. Jet skis, canoe rides, kayaking, and a visit to the estuary. And for more excitement, Safari Eco Park is the perfect place to get closer to some amazing animals.
Visit Safari World in Ghana, together bringing you closer to nature.
Welcome back. So, General Secretary of NPP, Justin Kodua Frimpong, is our guest in the studio. He says there are very important things that are being decided. They will have an expanded electoral college. It will not be for all card-carrying members, but that's for the future. But the party has decided that they will table before the delegates conference the idea of expanding the electoral college. The most controversial issue is the fact that they will be voting for their presidential candidate before they even choose executive. Some people feel that's a way of perpetuating him and his colleagues in office, because when a party finishes a cycle, they need to build from the bottom. We've read people like Boache Jack who say, which house do you build from the top? The flag bearer is the top. He's the driver. You fix the vehicle before you appoint a driver. Let me read an excerpt of something. I think Eugene Entry posted this somewhere. And I'm just going to read it. This was in relation to the 96 program. It's pretty long, but I'll just read two or three paragraphs. It says, the selection of the party's candidate for the 96 presidential election has been the subject of much speculation and regrettably has given rise to a great deal of bad feeling within the party. Don't forget, Edu Boahen had lost 92 and he was up for 96. Kufuor was also showing his face. James Mensah was also there, right? Yep. The party has to elect its candidate for the election. Every member of the party of good standing has the right to offer himself or herself. Must contest for the candidacy generate animosity and controversy? So very similar to now. Can we not have a contest without damaging each other and the party? In due course, a candidate will be elected. Whoever is elected cannot make himself president of Ghana by his individual effort alone. All of us in the party will have to work hard to win for him the votes which will secure the victory in the party. It is for this reason that we must do everything to prevent the contest for nomination from degenerating into a bitter and destructive fight among the aspirants. Now, here's my emphasis. Already, there has been a heated controversy over the date of electing our candidate. History repeating itself. This matter was thoroughly debated by National Council. It's almost like history repeating itself. Yesterday, they debated thoroughly. National Council of the party at its last meeting. And I'm reading a 96 document. Here's the conclusion. The National Council, after taking all necessary factors into consideration, decided to recommend to its conference that the election of our presidential candidate should take place in March 1996. Don't forget, the election was in December of that same year. So, General Secretary, President is telling us that, I think this is BJ Darocha time, they recommended, even though 13-1 was still there, they recommended, and then the conference, you can say, ratified. This doesn't seem to be the approach we are getting clearly from yesterday.
So, Bernard, it depends on the Constitution at that time and what the Constitution was saying then. Because if you read the words of the chairman, B.J. Darocha, says that the National Council is going to recommend, which means that then there is an inherent provision in the Constitution which talks about the body that decides the date for conference.
Yeah.
But this Constitution says it clearly. If the Constitution wants to make National Council recommend to the National Delegate Conference, it would have said so.
I see.
There are certain provisions in the Constitution that will say that a National Executive Committee will make the recommendations subject to approval by the National Council, or National Council will make a recommendation subject to approval by the National Delegate Conference. So this one is clear. And the literal interpretation tells you that the power to decide the dates for presidential primaries lies within the bosom of the National Council.
So let's move away from law. You said the Okwe committee made many recommendations, one of which was that the party should choose its presidential candidate early. So all of these things seem to be party matters. Did the committee not look at the governance issues that led to the election loss? Because you cannot tell me that NPP lost the election just because of the way its constitution is structured or the way it is organized. There are major governance issues that led to the party's defeat. Why are you concerning yourself with the party matters and not the bigger issues of the way the country was governed, the perceptions about the government and that kind of thing?
Well, Bernard, so if we refer to governance, we are not in government. So at the end of the day, if something even happened when we were in government, that caused even our defeat. We are not in government now. It comes into play when you win the elections in 2028. Then you will know that, okay, these are the steps that you took that were wrong.
But if you don't admit and deal with issues and tell Ghanaians what you did wrong so that Ghanaians can have confidence in you, that's my point. I'm not talking about, you are not in government.
Yes.
But you lost the election because of the governance and the perception about the way the country was governed. We haven't seen the NPP come to tell Ghanaians anything, and yet you are here thinking about choosing a new flag bearer. It's almost like it's by default, right? Without the Ghanaian public is the one that voted you out. You haven't said anything to them.
Well, for every political party, when you go to elections and you lose, you do a post-mortem. NDC did this. Have you seen the Kosiboche's report? No. It's not out there. No political party does post-mortem analysis of its elections and come and put forward the report of the committee. It's for the party's internal consumption. It's for the party to look at where we fell short, the mistakes that we made. And in the recommendations, it speaks about the necessary steps that the party has to take in order to win the elections. And this is what Professor Michael Quay committee has done. So if I come and sit here and I discuss that the party did this thing right, the party did this thing wrong, and in going to 2028, these are the strategies the party is going to put into motion. I'm
not talking about strategy. I'm talking about admitting to Ghanaians your failings so that Ghanaians can believe you. Because the whole idea of a campaign, the whole idea of a political party is to convince the public.
Yes.
So it's almost like you are putting the cart before the horse.
No.
You are trying to reorganize the party, but the Ghanaian public may not be willing to listen to you.
No. At the end of the day, internally, right? They say charity begins at home. So internally, what are the things, what are the leakages, what were the shortfalls of that thing that happened, which culminated in us losing the elections? You need to tidy things up internally first before you come out and say, okay, after we've done the necessary organization of the party and going forward, these are the steps that we need to take. Yes, in government, you cannot just say that we failed woefully. There are other positive things that Ghanaians will remember the NPP for. So at the end of the day, there are good sides, there are bad sides. And it's not only just about governance that made us lose the elections. The committee looked at several aspects, the governance aspects, the party's internal system or structures. The committee also looked at our campaign strategy and our campaign message and our communication. So they are multifaceted. It depends on so many factors that the committee make their report and which they submitted to the National Council.
But don't you think that the fact that before the party addresses Ghanaians properly, people have already started clamoring for the flag bearership. It's a sign of a party that's tone deaf, i.e., you haven't said anything to us, and yet you're already deciding that I can lead 2026. So, as in fact today, somebody even threw it. So almost 4 or 5 people. I'm talking about as a Ghanaian.
Yes.
Right? You can do whatever you want to do internally, but these guys are out there. All right? They are putting out videos, and they are essentially thinking about the next election without even. I don't have to put it. But has there been has NPP had a conversation with Ghanaians? Has NPP had a conversation with Ghanaians?
Yes,
to say,
on several occasions, even myself.
Okay, where?
On several platforms, where I've sat on radio and apologized on behalf of the party for mistakes that the party made during our tenure in government.
Okay.
Even on the thank you tour that we embarked, the flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Bamia, then also stood up and admitted that as a party we couldn't got everything right. So even where we made mistakes, we apologize for it. I've seen even Honorable Kennedy Japon, Honorable Bache Japon, the rest in various platforms apologizing for certain mistakes that the party made and the lessons that as a party.
So this was to your supporters?
No.
Because the thing was to your supporters, right?
But at least it was also carried up. And at the end of the day, the content and the words that were spoken was not just addressed to only party supporters, to the Ghanaian public. That's why we went to all the
so now that you are here for the first time, what is your message to Ghanaians?
No, it's very simple. As a political party, certainly we did our best, but we couldn't have gotten everything right. And I've always said that on behalf of the government, our then government, on behalf of our political party, certain things that we couldn't do right, we apologize for it. And as a party, we are always ready to learn and make sure that when we come back to power, the good things that we did, we will build on it. And those mistakes that we made as a political party, we will not repeat those mistakes. These are something that I've said on several occasions.
I remember Tunfo said, Ghana for money a buffo any a common etwaba, i.e. they vote with anger and hunger.
Yes.
So you admit that Ghanaians were angry with NPP. For which reason you performed so poorly?
Well, certainly the elections in 2024 is something that if you are to do introspection and look at the several factors that caused our defeat, it's not only restricted to government, as I indicated. Our party also serves within even the party, right? And the normal cycle of political parties being in power for 8 years. And Ghanaians, even there are people who feel that after 8 years should be a change of government. As juxtaposed with the economic challenges that we're facing per the post-COVID and Russia, Ukraine, whatever. Do you know as many as 60 countries, incumbent government lost the elections? So even what happened to us, it was just a trend that was happening across the globe. So irrespective of how you see it, as a government, as a party, like indicated, we couldn't have gotten everything perfect, 100%. But at least we also have positive stuff that the party also
Let me take a short break and come back with my last few points. This is the point of view. Guest is the General Secretary of NPP, and there are big dates coming, 31st January. But before that, in July, they have a conference which will ratify some decisions. We'll read your comments too. Stay with us.
Remember who we are singing now. At risk of prostate enlargement. We emema oha 20 ebitiminya prostate cancer. 5 bitimi afamu nadia ubefamu.
Actually, this is not my fault.
And to wada entina midi maniche Executive Prostate Center.
Executive Prostate Center is a unique medical center where we harmonize in-depth traditional medicine with cutting-edge science and technology to cure, to treat, and to prevent diseases like prostate enlargement, prostate cancer.
Executive Prostate Center. Madame home. Facilities no any professional medical care.
Sisi a bibia clear system. Yen no so de natural. into the Kodua family.
Executive Prostate Center. My cured.
Want to get polytank?
Oh, and you're right.
Go straight.
No, I want to left, right.
And you that's right. Ghana na ye wono. So when you do more, and ye data.
Oh no!
Abe, na here. Me pe polytank ato. And you come in here by you to be able to buy you. Or food to be here. And enjoy you kura.
Akuya bulambo kotoman. Emua.
Like they take you by so. Go to the distributor and you give the original polytank. Polytank. You get a sound?
Polytank. Papananka Sankasa.
Welcome back. So a few comments coming through. Abdul Mumin from Tamale says, indeed, the decision of the party leadership is a decision of we, the grassroots. We promise to win with Dr. Bawumia. Another one from somebody says, Sir Koku, NPP early Congress is the best way to go, and that will even help us unite and patch any problem before 2028 general elections. Greetings to Okunkom, JFK, and Dr. Bawumia. Abele in Nungwa. This one says, for me, I'm thinking the early election of a flag bearer for the party will mount pressure on the candidate. Vitus from Amasaman Stadium, as the NPP General Secretary, for me, if he thinks it's best for the same leaders who chose a presidential candidate only for him to lose woefully, should still be the ones to choose again. Are they protecting their own positions by doing this or what? The center cannot hold. Good evening, Bernard. Extend my warm greetings to JFK for me, Ajima McCarthy, former Regional Deputy Youth Organizer, Bono East. Good evening. I'm Awal Karidam from Tamale. Please ask General to explain to us the proposed people or executives that will take part in the regional conferences. I think he mentioned that at the beginning. Good evening, Bernard. The argument of having the presidential primaries first to reduce the acrimony and kind of behavior or action of the aspirants will even worsen the situation rather than making it better. The reason being that we are likely to have a group of persons who will vote for a presidential candidate and a different set of executives to elect party officials. What will be the fate of executives who supported the aspirants who lost the presidential primaries? They are likely to be pushed out of their positions. MPs who are supporting a particular aspirant are being called and threatened by the seat. What happens if their candidate loses? The grassroots support early presidential primaries, but not before party officer elections. Just to clarify, this current group of executives, when does your tenure end?
That's July. You mean the national officers?
National officers.
Yeah, that's July 2026, because we elected July 2022.
So do you not think you should let a new team manage the process of choosing a flag bearer instead of the same team, based on one text we got here, right? You've chosen a flag bearer for 2024, and based on what we are saying, if this works, you're going to choose a flag bearer for 2028. And possibly you may not be in office by December 2026. So don't you think it's fair for the new team, or if you win, assuming you are going again, to have a renewed mandate before you choose the flag bearer?
Yes. But we need to situate it in the proper context, right? The party has National Council. And if we look at the composition of National Council and those who form its membership, let me just read it to you so that at least you understand what the discussion that we are having here.
So you are basically saying that the people who chose, this is not your decision, it's the National Council.
So,
but we know this.
No. So when you read Article 10.3, 2 of the party's constitution, the National Council shall consist of voting members of the National Executive Committee.
Okay.
20 members of parliament chosen by the party's parliamentary group. Regional representatives. For every region, every 5 constituency present 1 representative. So depending on the size of the number of constituencies, you already determines the number of representatives that you have. We have past national chairpersons, past general secretaries, past presidents, past vice president, past presidential candidate, past running mates, past president, vice president, presidential candidate, and past presidential running mate. So these are the group that form the composition of the National Council. So when we go to National Council meeting and there's a debate, there's a discussion, and the majority are of the view that this is the position or the path the party should undertake. Certainly, as chief spokesperson of the party, I come and communicate.
But was it a unanimous decision or it was a, as they call it, majority decision?
Overwhelming majority.
Was there a vote? Did you count? Was there a vote?
No.
Voice vote?
Voice voting. And after even the voice voting, we asked anyone who has a no position. Anyone who was at National Council yesterday saw it.
So did anybody after the voting say they disagree still? Because we've seen people post. For example, I've seen Mr. Boache Jaku make post. I've heard Eugene Entry speak, and they've all said, of course, Boache Jaku is a member of National Council, right?
Yes, and I'm surprised he didn't attend National Council meet. So
he was not there?
He was not there. So perhaps, maybe if he had come.
Was Kennedy Japan there?
No, he's not a member of National Council.
Even though he's run for... he's not...
No,
okay, he didn't win.
It doesn't... That's the composition is what I've explained here. So at the end of the day, if you go to a meeting, and that's part of our political dispensation. You go to a meeting, you deliberate on issues, decision has to be taken. And the fact that you do not support the decision does not make the decision invalid, or does not mean that a decision doesn't have to be taken. So this is the position of National Council.
Do you intend to run for re-election as General Secretary?
Well, for now, we are doing reorganization of the party, and the party has not opened nomination. So once the party open nomination, we can have that discussion.
But that's an interesting point, because for your flag bearers, they haven't waited for nomination. Today's one released a video, another one released a video last week. Yes. People are even campaigning for the flag bearers, and yet you are saying you haven't opened nomination.
We have not opened nomination for national position.
So are you interested?
So once it gets there.
But would you want to run?
Once it gets there, you get to know. But for where we are today, as General Secretary of my party, as the chief spokesperson of the party, I'm here to speak on issues and decision that has been taken by National Council.
Some people have said this decision favors Dr. Bawumia.
Well, I'll be very, very surprised that for anyone to think that an election that is yet to be conducted will favor a particular candidate.
Because they're saying that the same group of people who voted for him for 2024 largely will be the same group that will vote for him or do the vote for the flag bearer with the current arrangement.
If we have monitored our electoral history, even from 92, 96 to even 2000, at every elections, from national through to polling station, about 70%, even sometimes 80% of current executives retain their position. So the fact that you may even start from polling station to national or from national to polling station does not make it skewed towards a particular person. Because whether you do polling station, there are current executives who still continue to be executives. And at the end of the day, what makes you think that a person maybe voted for Dr. Bawumia in the last election will still vote for Dr. Bawumia in the next election? Or someone who voted for maybe Honorable Kennedy Japan in the last election may still vote for him, or vice versa. So what is important is the feeling of the party members, the party executives who may constitute the electoral college. As at that point, of course, nobody is happy about how we lost the elections. And people are looking at various dynamics. Some are even blaming government, some are even blaming the party, some are even blaming leadership, some are even blaming candidates. So all these factors come into play. And the campaign message that should the party open nomination will be propagated by those aspirants will determine who will win the elections. In 1992, President Kufuor contested. He was third in the elections. In 1996, he came to win the presidential primaries. So at the end of the day, it's not cast in stone that because the party is doing amendment, because the party is doing expansion, because the party is bringing a new strategy or new structure, it means that it's going to favor.
Some people are worried that
the
nature of the flag bearership contest and some of the things being said requires a toning down, and they expect the center of the party to call people to order. For example, there have been religious points made. I've heard statements made, and Nana Kumia had to come on air to sort of respond. As the General Secretary, are you able to rein in these flag bearers? Because it seems as if they are already campaigning fully, and some of the things being said may be very damaging for the party.
You see, that's why we continue to caution personalities within the party. And Bernard, there are so many behind-the-scenes discussions and meetings and activities that goes on. And you may not know the number of times that we have engaged certain personalities and the discussion, how we are able to be able to even prevent or stop people from even making certain comments. And also how we are able to even calm tempers in certain quarters. But of course, it's a human institution. You can't have it 100%. And certain times there will be excesses.
Are you willing to crack the whip?
Because
some people perceive the current executive to be weak, that the personalities running for flag bearership are too strong. They cannot be contained. So can you call a flag bearer and say, this is not allowed. You cannot say this in a campaign.
So because maybe I have not come openly or publicly to rebuke the person means that we have not done that.
So are you doing that?
Yes. There has been several. That's why I'm making the point. That the fact that I have not come out publicly to rebuke maybe Mr. A or Mr. B does not mean the party has not taken certain actions.
But sometimes you need to let people know that you are in charge.
No, then
so that the grassroots will know that General is in control.
No.
Look at NDC. When they were voting, General Mosquito and Fifi Kwete, you remember in the parliament, they were very wild. They didn't allow people to do plenty things.
No, what did they do? They went to sit in parliament at the gallery. So what were you going to do?
You remember the time where they were talking about people voting for certain ministers?
Yes.
They seem to be, in fact, if they even called out some MPs for not openly supporting certain positions as leadership. I'm not saying you should do what they are doing, but there appears to be.
So you are comparing their actions in parliament.
No, generally the way they manage their party
with presidential primaries.
No,
so
they are seen to be stronger.
Let me ask you, in their presidential primaries, did you hear them criticizing a comment that was being made by Tel Abi and also being made by...
But it didn't lead to them wanting to change the order of their running. The reason you are doing all of this is that you are worried that in fact, so it means your race, your race is a different race, because you are worried that the race will divide the party. They didn't have that problem.
Who told you? Unless you didn't monitor...
They didn't change.
Unless you didn't monitor
NDC didn't change the flow of their program because of anything.
It's not following the footsteps of NDC. They have their tradition. They have their history. We are not from the same tradition. We are not guided by the same history. So for NPP as a political party, we have our spirit, we have our letter, we have the way...
Do you accept that the current executive should be blamed for the state of the party? Because when I posted this article, somebody says NPP is in crisis as a party.
Well, definitely, as a political party, when you go to elections and you don't win, certainly people will not be happy. Certainly there will be emotions. Certain people will criticize you. Vice versa. If you have won the election, maybe you'd have been hailing me as the most successful general secretary of the political party. So certainly all these things are welcome, because at the end it's part of our body politics. And for the first year after we've lost the elections, there are turbulence. There are people who are still battered by how we lost the elections. Emotions are high. And people are also planning for the next election. People have interest. There are people who want to become general secretary. There are people who want to become flag bearer. There are people who want to become constituency officer or regional officer. All of them have their own motive. And all of them have their own issue. And it's a campaign period. So definitely people will come out with issues, will come out with missiles just to attack current administration, which is accepted. But at the end of the day, the rank and file of the party will decide whether you perform as a general secretary or you not perform as a general secretary, or whether all executives should leave or some should remain. All these dynamics will come into play.
So the big date is 18th to 20th July, University of Ghana Sports Stadium for the National Annual Delegate Conference. We wish you good luck with that. I'm sure the media will be there to cover.
Certainly,
and then I hope to see you. Obviously, then we'll know the fate of 31st January 2026.
Definitely.
So that's the day to watch. Good luck to you. Thank you for talking to us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Justin Kodua Frimpong was my guest, General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, answering questions around a very controversial proposal, which is now becoming a decision. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.